Crowbar Gym again. I just had to get this off my chest because it was short time, right? When you're thinking and like, man, if I write it down, I won't be able to like remember it later. So a lot of people ask about, like, hey, what's a good diet and stuff like that, and I would always say, hey, you just cut down the carbs and up your protein and up your fat, and that's usually good for a lot of people. Um, but I've been getting into plant-based diets, like vegan, not vegetarian, and the reason why is because even with a high protein diet, you still have to take out the milk and cheeses because they're high in saturated fats, unfortunately. So if you're going to cut, specifically when you get to the end of the wintertime, because why cut now, man? You're still, drinking beer and stuff like that, right? And unless you're sick, that's totally different. Like if you have diabetes and stuff like that, I think this will be the better diet for you. So another problem with a high protein diet is that, and I've done this myself, and I've crashed like everybody else does. It's great, and this is why bodybuilders use a high protein diet, because you can eat a lot of protein, stuff your face, and you're technically just hungry all day long, and you're inducing hunger because you're in a mode with Dr. McDougall, who is a doctor, who is a plant-based doctor, who wrote a great book called The Starch Solution, would say is that you're sick. Also, too, a lot of the diseases that we have are dietary diseases, and I'll get to that a little bit longer, but there's a great book called The Starch Solution. So most people crash, and also too, people are doing silly things like, what's it called, like intermittent fasting. I'm probably not saying that right. And the reality is that it's a good tactic, but I'm going to tell you the truth. Most people can't even pick the right thing to eat. I mean, like, you want to do these high valued, what I call specialized techniques that bodybuilders do, and they're disciplined people. And mind you, that they're 10% of the population. They work out hard, they brutalize their bodies. I mean, they're going to go to failure. They'll make, if you did their workout, for example, and they're eating, specifically their workout, you would do a curl with them and you would hurl because you wouldn't be able to do what they do. Even if they're natural or they're not natural, doesn't matter. They work hard. So you're trying to take what professionals do and you're trying to bring it to your, what we call ourselves here, including myself. We're mortals. So pick a different tactic. So what's a better tactic? Well, instead of, doing all these silly things that technically you're not ready for, why don't you just cut out the saturated fat? Like, stop eating out. Number one. So if you stop eating out and you cut out the canola oil, the vegetable oil that are carcinogenics, for example, and cut out the cheese, that's big. Right there, I guarantee you lose 10 pounds right off the bat. Pack your lunch. And don't be afraid of carbs. There's lots of bodybuilders now and lots of people in the industry who eat carbs. I'm not sure what your workout is, but eat carbs and eat them clean. So Dr. McDougall will tell you, because he's a plant-based diet, he's a doctor, and he gets great results by putting people literally on a starch-based diet. Of course, he takes out the meat, but let's look at it this way. These people are sick. They have diabetes or something of that nature, and they drop from 300 pounds to back to their normal BMI. Sometimes almost to 150 pounds, 160 pounds. And I'll post some things up eventually in the future. So if you really want to go extreme, right, and you're thinking, oh, let's do the paleo diet. Well, let me tell you this. Why don't you do a plant-based diet and go that extreme? I mean, it's totally the opposite way. Just pick two starches, either rice or potatoes, and just eat them all day. And you're thinking, well, that's going to make me fat. No, it's not. Reality, your body can take in a lot of carbs, specifically if they're clean, And don't be afraid to put a little mustard on there. Make sure it doesn't have any sugar. It's a good book. Pick it up. Look into the diet. There's many people writing about this and also videoing it. But it's a great diet. I mean, I've tried it, and it's amazing because like you are stuffing your face with carbs, and you're hungry, but then because you're eating technically fiber, and don't be afraid of the white rice if you're gonna pick rice, just because it tastes better. A lot of people can't handle brown rice. So try that. If you're going to go one extreme and it didn't work for you, and statistically, most people try a high protein diet, and what ends up happening is they fail and they crash after a month, and then they actually get fatter. So you got nothing to lose. Go ahead, if you're not sick, lower your protein. Don't have as many eggs. Don't have as many burgers. Don't have as many, don't have that much chicken. And definitely don't have processed meat. You're not going to get anywhere with processed meat, And lower that. And if you are sick and you really need, or you're motivated to do something extreme, and it's not really extreme, but for you it might be, eat starch. Eat a lot of it. And I guarantee you, because we're taking away the fat, the saturated fat from all the proteins, your calories are going to be very high, but there's still a deficit in fat. And unfortunately, the truth of the matter is, when you look at the data, fat makes you fat. And that's been around since, I think, the 70s. And of course, the industry told us otherwise. So try it. Read the book, Starch Solution. Eat some starch, clean, no butter, no fat. See what you get. If you're fat already, you're not going to get any fatter, trust me. It's not going to happen. Statistically, the data suggests that you're going to get leaner. So give it a shot. Peace out. Crowbar Jim.